Hello everybody, this is Miss Whitley and we are going to be doing some English today. Hopefully you've already re-watched the video of Bjorn, the saga of the Viking Bjorn, and understand what the story was about. Now, your mission today is to plan a letter from Bjorn's wife writing to the Viking god Odin, complaining that Bjorn has been sent to heaven rather than the Viking version of heaven, which is Valhalla. Okay, so first things first, let's look at how to write a formal letter, because it's a certain way of laying out a letter. So, what is a formal letter? A formal letter is a letter that we send to people we don't know or who we're not very familiar with. So it's not a letter that you would write to your friends. Different types of formal letters can be complaint letters or protest letters. That's the letter that we're going to be focusing on, a complaint letter. It could be an invitation or a letter to schedule an appointment. Okay. So, the layout of a letter is very specific. Now, first things first, you put your address on the top right-hand corner. Now, that is always the case in every letter that you write. Okay, sorry about the rain in the background. It's really raining fast outside. And then on the left-hand side, you put the person who you are writing to, and that is called a recipient because they are receiving the letter. In this case, you will be writing to the god Odin. Okay. Now, then you would always put the date. Now, they've put the date on the right-hand side, but in the UK, we always put it on the left side. And then who we're going to address the letter to. So here it's addressed to Miss Person, but it will be to Odin, the Viking god. Then you write the main body of the letter, and then you put a closing farewell, which I usually call it a sign-off. So you don't just end the letter because you've got to state who is writing the letter. So you always put a sign-off, a closing farewell. So let's look at it broken down further. So again, step 1, write your address in the top right-hand corner of your letter. Step 2, you always put who you're writing to on the left-hand side of the letter. Step 3, you always add a date to your letter, but they've demonstrated it on the right-hand side, but in the UK, we always put it on the left-hand side. And then step 4, write down the name of the person the letter is addressed to. So, in this instance, it's a Mr. Wheeler. Okay. If you didn't know the name, you would put dear sir or madam. Okay. So, always when you're writing a letter, you explain in the first paragraph is explaining why you're writing the letter. And then the next paragraph is going into a little bit more detail exactly what the problems are. And then once you finish your complaint, you sort of summarise everything, re-emphasising the fact why you think they should make a good decision, and then you always put at the end either yours sincerely if you know the person's name that you're addressing the letter to, or yours faithfully if you do not know their exact name. You could also, as I've done in my example letter that you'll get to see later, is put yours hopefully, because Mrs. Bjorn is hopeful that Odin will send Bjorn to Valhalla rather than to heaven. Okay, so here's my example of a plan to help me when I get to write this letter, which we'll be doing this on Thursday. So you can see from the examples I've put my address, Mrs. Bjorn, Viking Way, York. Thought that would be quite relevant because, you know, York was the capital of the Vikings way back when, in the 11th century. And then on the left hand side we've got the address of who we're writing to. So this is how we spell Odin, O-D-I-N, and he is really the god of all Vikings. I've put that he lives in Valhalla. Oops, I've skipped along. So going back, and as you can see I've put the address. Now this is just a plan. This isn't the full letter. We're just planning it out, what we'd like to include in our letter. So I've addressed it to Dear Odin, and it says, why are you writing? How are you feeling about your husband going to heaven instead of Valhalla? I'm not writing it in full sentences because it is just a plan, so I've just put a couple of bullet points. Bjorn, my husband, needs to be in his rightful place of Valhalla, not heaven. Okay, so that's why I'm writing. And also, he has served you well and acted like the perfect Viking, ensuring he raided villages, killed anyone in sight. He was fearsome and heartless. So that's why I'm writing, because he shouldn't be in heaven. He should be in Valhalla, because he did everything as he should as a Viking when he was alive, and so he should be sent to his version of heaven. So let's move on to the next slide. So the next paragraph is explaining further why he deserves to go to Valhalla. So how did Bjorn try to die? What happens? So I've put Bjorn tried to die in an honourable death, but firstly a ninja attacked him, and rather than slicing Bjorn, he accidentally sliced a tree, killing himself. So the second reason, an evil tyrant, a tyrant is just a very evil person, ran towards him, tripped over a boulder is a big stone, isn't it, and impaled, let's if I've spelt that wrong, himself on the sword. Okay, and finally Bjorn did get killed by a monster, but the Christian nuns buried him, sending him to heaven. So this is how he tried to get sent to Valhalla rather than heaven, but things worked against him. So I was explaining why. Okay, so to summarise in my plan, summarise why Bjorn needs to go to Valhalla. So I'm summarising, and this is what I'll put at the end of my letter. Bjorn did everything right as a Viking. He did actually die in fighting, so he deserves the rite of passage to Valhalla. He's been a true Viking. He's always served the god Odin and lived by the Viking rules. Okay, and then it says, how will you end your letter? I'll put a little bit of flattery to Odin, just to make him feel good about himself. You are the greatest of all gods. Yours, hopefully, Mrs. Bjorn. So that is my plan, and I will use that plan when I come to write my letter on Thursday. So what I expect you to do is to log into your Purple Mash now and open up the template. You can use some of these ideas, but I want you to come up with your own outline plan, and that will really help you when you come into putting more detail into your actual letter on Thursday. Okay, so good luck, all the best, speak soon, take care, bye bye.